There are numerous paths leading to God, one of them being the path of love, or ishq in Arabic. The word ishq means an intense feeling of love, in this case referring to the love of God. So how does one reach God? By taking this path. A classic example of this among Sufis is a story called Layla and Majnun. A man falls in love with a girl named Layla, and despite his efforts, he's unable to marry her. The idea of losing her as a potential wife upsets him to the degree which he almost loses his mind and is labeled Majnun, meaning madman. He abandons his home and everything else in life. He entirely cuts his connection with this world, living a life of solitude and aimlessly wandering around. Over time, he begins to realize that just like Layla, everything in this life has an end to it and will abandon him one day, either by death or otherwise. The intense love which he directs to anything will only increase his pain as they leave him. He realizes that nothing besides God is permanent and thus worthy of loving. Furthermore, the beauty, perfection, and grace which had attracted him to Layla exist in its most perfect form in God. In fact, God is the very source of beauty, perfection, and grace. He thus begins to direct the intense love which he has for Layla wholeheartedly towards his eternal creator. He becomes overwhelmed by the love and no longer feels the pain and agony of abandonment. In this story, we see Majnun passing through several stages in the path of reaching God. He directs his love towards Layla. He realizes that the object of his love, in this case Layla, is transient as she abandons him. He realizes that the true source of beauty, perfection, and grace is not her, but God. He directs his love towards God and is overwhelmed by it. This is a basic outline of reaching God through the path of love. The initial object of love, in this case being Layla, may of course change. Some people may intensely love a potential spouse, while others may love power, money, and so forth. The common denominator of all these objects is that they are transient and not eternal. They will abandon you one day or another and are not the true source of the triggers of love, beauty, perfection, and grace. In this story, Majnun comes to realize the love of God after being abandoned by Layla. There are various ways in which Ahl al-Ishq, or the people of love, may go about this stage. Generally, they will try to distance themselves from the material world, some as the well-known Sufi Abdul Qadir al-Gaylani, Quddisallahu sirrahu, going as far enough as to abandon everything to live in solitude in the desert. Since it's not possible to entirely abandon the world while one is still alive, they spend long periods of time in meditation about death. Note that not all Sufis are Ahl al-Ishq and vice versa, as discussed in an article linked below. Other paths to God include the paths of poverty, weakness, reflection, and compassion.